beside me, next to me, above me, I'm not quite sure. That's my buddy, my good friend, Michael Belardi, my special guest co-host for today. And I got to tell you, it's going to be a good one. If you haven't seen Michael out there doing his thing, this is your chance. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hall of Life tonight.
Glad to be here. Todd is actually on a small trip away. He gave me a call. He told me
he's drinking Coronas. He's drinking Coronas, not getting the Coronas, and he's making sure that the women are 6 inches away from him at any given time. Social distancing.
So, I was asked to do this, and Todd's giving me the whole workaround. I've obviously seen the past episodes, helped you guys get this thing moving and grooving here. And he's like, just do your thing. I was like, do my thing? I don't have a thing. I have a thing like we talk about the old stuff. I'm like, you actually want me to co-host this with Kelly? I was like, all right, well, we'll give it the best shot that we can. And then he's like, don't forget to do breaking news.
Yeah. Here we go, breaking news, everybody.
And now, the news.
With.
So now I worked in news for 4 years of my life, maybe 5. And it's like I always think about sitting up proper and being all straight and stuff, and then talking to the camera and be like, today in the news.
This just in.
So we actually do have some news. We actually do have some real newsworthy stuff.
Yeah.
That was leaked on the Reaper's Revenge Haunted Hayride official Facebook page. What did we leak?
We're still not telling you what it is, but we did get the interior, some of the interior of the new attraction in. It was a lot of black panels, but I'm not going to tell you any more than that. I saw the floor plan. I know what's going down. This is the first time we've done anything like this.
In other words, Kelly, you're telling people to target you for all the information.
What's that now?
You're telling people to target you for all the information.
Why? No. But yeah, hey, message me. I'm not going to tell you anything.
There's one thing that Kelly is very, very good at. It's keeping secrets. He will not tell you what it is. But we did. We leaked some photos of the which we have here. Some photos of the nobody has seen yet of the new attraction being built at Reaper's Revenge. We can't tell you much about it, but every time we put out a photo of a truck, of us moving dirt, whatever it is, we always get asked, what's the new attraction?
Yeah, we are making forward progress in the big scheme of things, no matter what happens, whether you see it this year or not. We hope you do. There will be a new attraction at Reaper's Revenge.
Yes, there will. It's going to be fun, and more information to come over the course of the next few weeks as we progress through the pandemic, as well as prepare our press releases for the new attraction.
So they might even come up with a name.
Yeah, we haven't even done the name part yet. So everybody calm down. We're just showing you some pictures of us doing things that we like to do up there because we don't want to be in our homes anymore.
Hey, everybody, guess what's next? It's interview time.
We do. We have an interview today. As you know, it's Friday, so that means we bring out my favorite segment that Jen and I have created, which is Reaper's Revenge Recalled, a trip down the past and a trip down some of the behind the scenes, some of the facts, and some of the little ways that we created Reaper's Revenge. And this week, we brought on Andy Gregory. Check it out. What's everybody? Welcome to the third installment of Reaper's Revenge Recalled. We have my lovely co-host, Jen Marino.
Hi.
We have her other half, Kelly. Are you still with us?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there he is. And then we have one special guest today. One of the crazy, what I consider one of the biggest Mad Hatters of Reaper's Revenge. We call him Papa Zuzu himself. Andy Gregory.
Andy.
Hey!
Yama Yama Papa Zuzu, as we would say on the radio.
Yama yama.
Yo.
So Andy, you've been with us now. This is going on year 9 for you. You know, being a professional in so many different facets of Reaper's Revenge. Pyrotechnics is definitely one of your leading skills with us. Electrical and design work within electrical, digital voice boxes, power, and even to the point where you are co-designing some of the cool little nifty gaffs across the entire mountain. So where do you see yourself fitting in amongst the unruly motley crew that we have that's part of this show?
Well, I've always just called myself the purveyor of technical terror. A lot of what I do, nobody actually gets to see. In fact, on any normal night, I'll be behind the scenes just making sure everything's running and everybody's getting scared like they should.
Absolutely.
And a lot of your gaffes are the key ingredients to these scares being a success. I mean, you know, we have one of the biggest things that you have accomplished working alongside with Mike Hefner, the director of facilities and one of the owners of Reapers, the Helevator, which we're going to talk at a later date about the Helevator. We have something from some of the simple gaffes, the disco ball and the thriller scene.
Exploding toilets. The red eyes in the woods. And Andy's behind it all. Don't let anybody kid you. Andy's behind it all.
This is true.
Actually, I didn't do the red eyes. That's all Mad Mike. But a lot of the stuff you see, I've had a firsthand in. And, you know, it's not always my ideas. What I do is I bring other people's ideas to life.
We put a lot of things on your desk.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Andy really loves it when I come to him like right before Hell Week, like our rehearsal week. I'll come to him and I'll be like, I have this great idea. I've added a character. I just need this one little light in the woods. And then Andy's head explodes. It's really fun.
You really want to see his head explode, ask him about where the laser gloves are.
If you want to see both of their heads explode, ask them where the laser gloves are.
Ask me that the night of Sector's first dress rehearsal, and I'll definitely know where I put those for the winter.
I am definitely, that is my annual pain in the butt situation that I always create for you guys is I forget about them every year. I don't know how, I don't know why, but it's the laser glove that creates the effect on top of Sector 13 that the guard wears. And every year I'm just like, as soon as I get down there for rehearsal, the laser glove. I don't think about it any other time throughout the entire year.
Not until the exact moment of our first dress rehearsal or even our first night show. Because sometimes like I'll let it slide on dress rehearsal and I'll be like, oh yeah, they're still charging, when in reality. No, Andy was actually able to, so our laser glove manufacturer like stopped making them. They were always breaking anyway, so I had to find a new manufacturer, and they came and they were like child size. They honestly would have fit on like a 10-year-old. So Andy was actually able to dismantle the whole thing this year. And basically, he should probably go into business making his own. That's how awesome this guy is.
Andy should be going into business to build a lot of things.
Yeah, it's kind of sad seeing some of this stuff that, you know, actually comes off the shelf from some of these manufacturers, not to mention any names. But in this case, yeah, we had to try and fit a child-sized glove onto an oversized hand of a guard. That's pretty hard.
But we succeed in it every year. It seems like we always try to drive you mad with some kind of design. I mean, one year I'm coming at you, I want a 30-foot pyro, a half-baked idea coming from Paul Cochran in the wee hours of the morning going, yeah, We need more fire.
Andy knows how to do that.
Yeah. Fire.
Yeah, that's always been one of my favorite aspects is when I show up, I see these things that other people have built and they say, I want it to do this. And I'm like, okay, give me a couple days. And, out of that comes stuff like the elevator or Big Bertha or a lot of the other things we've done. I don't get normally in on the ground level of development of a lot of these things, but
You make it happen. Stop selling yourself short.
Yeah.
I'm rather proud that everybody's so confident that they say, let's just do it. Andy will figure it out.
No, Andy really is like when we can't figure it out. Some of my favorite days working at Reaper's Revenge are with Andy because some of it's, heavy building, but when it comes down to the technical stuff, he's right there. And we really do say some of the dumbest things in sentences. And Andy is right there like, well, let's do that.
I will say this. For many of you guys who are often interested in coming to our behind the scenes tour, it's usually myself or the owner, Paul Cochran, or one of the other members of management that give the tour. One of the most entertaining things you can do is ask me to turn my radio on and just leave it open channel, because for the 2 hours that we're out on the behind the scenes tour, you will hear Andy Gregory communicate across the entire mountain in nothing but a sheer form of noises and inside jokes. And it's nothing but entertaining, even for the strangers that have no idea what we do up there.
It's gibberish, but we make it
ask
work.
me like, what is that guy even saying? It's like, well, it's kind of just our language.
Well, yeah, and there's not too many people on the mountain who don't know who Papa Zuzu is.
Like, how can you not? So you brought up something before, Andy, that I think our viewers would love to hear more about, especially some of our local viewers. I know they've been really looking for somebody to blame Big Bertha on. Can you tell us a little bit more about who and what Big Bertha is? And I'll send the township ladies your way.
Big Bertha is the name I gave to this particular prop that we set up on the top of the mountain in the toxic scene. This is another one of those situations where I show up one day and Mad Mike tells me, oh, I got this tank up there. We want to shoot a big flame out of the top of it. I'm like, okay, let me work on that. So between me and him, we came up with what we thought would be a pretty awesome, safe design. And, that's the major aspect of everything we do. It has to be safe. And in fact, we want to make sure that it's beyond safe, because there's no way that we want to do anything that could possibly hurt anybody. So either case, we decided on a scheme, and we came up with some ideas after brainstorming for, I don't know, probably sitting over about a week of lunches talking about this. And so then I started putting stuff together. And by the time we were done, we were pumping probably about 20 gallons of propane into this huge tank on the top of the hill and then lighting it. And it is such a huge spontaneous combustion that it literally sends out a shock wave. We did not realize that at first.
Yeah, I was actually terrified the first time you guys brought me up there and set that thing off. I'm not going to lie, it really does.
That's what we do here.
Okay.
Well, see, my story was interesting because, as you guys know, like I kind of come and go a lot throughout the summer. Sometimes I'll be gone for weeks at a time with work. And I remember I pulled into the lower half of the mountain, and I heard this, what I would call a sonic boom. This just, woof. Now I'm sitting here going like, I don't know what that was. I kind of just played it off the first time, and then it happened like 40 seconds later again. And then I was like, what in God's name is that? Oh, that's Big Bertha. and you guys were just completing it. And my immediate reaction was, I got to get on a golf cart and go see what in God's name is making that noise. You're able to actually hear that thing, you know, all the way down into the parking lot, you know, especially when you're running it at a certain capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're further than the parking lot until we turn.
Yeah, it travels for acres, and you don't even realize it when you're standing there by it. But the sonic wave literally is vibrating the earth around it, and it travels all the way down the hill to the point where it scares the neighbors.
Only for 20 days. We're very sorry, neighbors.
Yeah, we have since turned it down, but it is a sonic boom.
Yeah, it is that, you know, up until the year of Big Bertha, which was this will be going on year 3 for Big Bertha. Up until that point, it was Sector 13's 30-foot pyro down on the roof that held the title for making the most noise. Now it is no longer that.
No, and it was a sad day when we had to turn it down, but we never really intended for it to produce a sonic boom. It just sort of happened.
My favorite part is that you guys turned it way down. Like, yeah, you please the neighbors, you know, nobody complains, but I'm telling you, as somebody who spent many hours on that mountain in close proximity to Bertha, I heard it turn up a little bit just about every weekend until our finishing weekend, where I'm pretty sure it was just back at square one.
Yeah, Andy,
why are you letting our secrets out?
This just in, more than one person on the Reaper's Revenge management team is a pyrotechnics expert and licensed. Thank you.
So Andy, so we obviously know we do a lot of propane pyrotechnics up there. We have, how many total pyrotechnics do we have on the mountain as of 2019?
Oh, pyrotechnics. Just a second, I have it on here. Flame effects, 12 different flame effects, not counting individual just lanterns and stuff that we have scattered throughout the mountain. But it's actually 12 triggered flame effects.
What other numbers do you got for us, Andy?
How many gallons of propane do we go through every year?
How many gallons of propane? I had that.
I don't know, but the propane guys were at our house today, and he said we got a lot of tanks.
Yeah. He was like, I just went up to do Reapers.
Reaper's Revenge. There's a ton of those things up there.
Yeah, we use a lot of propane for a lot of different things. Aside
I was like, I'm the guy that got to take those out.
I got some of those numbers from Mad Mike, our director of facilities, and he looked it up. Last year, we used a total of 1,080 gallons of propane.
Wow, 1,080 gallons of propane.
Yeah, that's the liquid form. It makes a lot more once you turn it into gas to make the flames. But that is not only in the flame effects, but that is also for our actor heaters, our concession stands, and our living quarters. So overall, the total was 1,080 gallons of propane last year.
Jeez.
Whoa.
That's
How
unbelievable.
about fog juice? How many different kinds of fog juice and how many gallons of each?
Thank you, Froggy's Fog.
Yeah.
All right. We used a total of 550 gallons approximately of fog juice last year, and it's about 2/3 freeze and 1/3 swamp.
What's the difference between the two so that our audience kind of knows?
The freeze fog juice is what will stay low to the ground, like we use in the cemetery for the low-lying effects. The swamp is just general fog juice that is the most common, but we don't use that everywhere, but that'll give you a higher effect.
Sector uses a lot of the high-rise fog.
Sector uses a lot of a mix. That's one of the things we've been doing over the years is, like in Sector, your walls are so high, so we don't want it to go too high. It just goes over the walls. So we've literally been mixing the regular fog juice and the low-lying fog juice to get the effect we want in Sector 13. That's just one of the things we do. Now, we also went through approximately 70 gallons of snow juice, which is basically soap bubbles.
That was the new
and
addition.
35 gallons of bubble juice.
Oh, the bubble juice. Yeah, how about that bubble fogger? That
It was about 35 gallons.
Wow.
How many bubbles do you think it actually produced other than, just like sending the stuff over the edge? Thank you, Froggy's Fog, but I wasn't super happy about that one.
No, and that's something we definitely want to improve on this year. So we have some stuff in the works for that. And if we do get it working to our satisfaction, I'm sure we'll be going through more bubble juice than we did last year.
I hope so.
We talked about this the other day.
It's
So
really
now,
cool
Andy,
when it works.
one of the big things that we have that is across the entire mountain, one thing that we are not skimpy on, and that is fog machines, sound systems, and the amount of electricity that we use across the board. Every one of our attractions has some form of fog, uses all forms of electricity. So how many fog machines do we have? Give me the whole workup of how we're able to pull off everything we need to electrical wise, the number of fog machines, the number of sound systems.
More lights, Andy.
More lights and trees. That's my best thing. There's nothing like being on a 20-foot ladder, putting up a light in a tree, huh, Kelly?
That's what we do.
So we have a plethora of technical mayhem we put out in the entire haunt. A lot of it is on the hayride only because the other attractions are so small, but we do have lots and lots of little individual gadgets. Not everybody sees all of the stuff that we do or we have prepared for our customers, such as, the peeing bear.
Oh,
That's
I
my
love
jam.
it.
So
We got so excited.
Throughout the entire attraction, believe it or not, we have 15 individual water effects. That includes the bleeding neck at Slaughter. It includes water vapor jets.
13.
Water vapor jets in the final scene. We have the peeing bear and the walkthrough, as well as a popcorn effect.
Oh, yeah, the spring popcorn.
Yep, we have the spraying popcorn. We have quite a few effects, or at least 2 water effects in pitch black, and we have several water effects in Sector 13, including the caged bug that spits green water on the cage all night.
Yeah,
So
that's done it.
it's
So that's his name.
with the 15 different effects.
Oh,
There's literally just a list of water effects that somebody has to go through and make sure they're full every weekend. And, that's not uncommon for everything we do. We have, like I said, 12 different flame effects, and then we have Big Bertha, naturally.
optimized airflow.
Yeah. We have 13 separate animatronics on the mountain. We have 2 human animatronics on the mountain. We have 6 other miscellaneous moving props, like the Reaper that flies over the trail in the woods. And 32 fog machines, 1 snow machine, 1 bubble machine. We have 7. Huh? Go ahead.
I said, I know something that we definitely only have one of, and it's one of my favorite things. Tell us about the time that we made you get a ladder out, and what did we make you hang 20 feet in there in the middle of the woods without giving you a clue as to why. Tell us about that.
Well, sitting in one of the creative meetings, I don't really partake in them a lot, but I like to sit in the background to see what you guys are getting me into. And at one point, somebody brought up what is now known as the thriller scene. And they asked me to hang a mirror ball, a disco ball, in the middle of the woods. I went on about that for days. I'm like, I cannot believe I'm hanging a mirrored ball in the middle of the woods. And at that time, I really didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal, but it turned out to be one of our most famous and memorable scenes in the whole hayride. It's just unbelievable what these little ideas mushroom out to be, because you really never know what the public's or how the public's going to react to them. But in the meantime, I made a big deal about hanging a disco ball in the middle of the woods.
Oh, you make a big deal of it every year, Andy. He gets so excited. Let me tell you guys, he gets so excited when it is time to hang this disco ball in the woods. Andy will get on the radio. I'll be doing whatever it is I do out there. He'll be like, Jen, Andy to Jen, Papa Zuzu to Jen. Go ahead, Andy. You know what it's time for now, right?
Gonna be starting something. Gonna be starting something.
Yeah.
Because what we used for the crystal ball is a genuine crystal ball that you would see in any nightclub. It's kind of fragile, and we always thought that it probably wasn't the best idea to keep it out in the elements any longer than necessary. So over the years, it's become a tradition that crystal disco ball is the last thing to go up before we open. And we've made kind of a photo opportunity of hanging up this crystal ball right before we open, and that now kind of signifies the fact that we're ready to open.
And it's been a pleasure, and I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else but you, Andy. I really would.
So Andy, getting to kind of some of the more serious portions of your job, because you create a whole bunch of really neat effects. But when it all boils down to it, you are the lead man when it comes down to the electrical operations across the mountain. We've gone from, a lot of people don't know this, we spent the majority of our years operating off of generator power, diesel generator power. And it's only come recently, I think, what, Andy, 4 years ago that we've actually moved on to permanent power. Can you tell me a little bit more about how we've made our selections with as far as electrical goes?
Yeah, I wasn't actually the lead man. A lot of that had to do with Mad Mike. But in the first few years of our haunted hayride attraction, they actually ran the whole attraction off a generator that came from S&S Amusements. And they also used all of the wiring from that carnival. And they ended up dragging this wiring through the woods every year for the first few years just to get power out to the specific scenes on the hayride. This was before we had the walkthrough, before we had Sector 13, was basically just the hayride and pitch black. So for years, that's what they did. And then when Mike Hefner came on, our director of facilities, he started installing more and more permanent wiring so that they wouldn't have to literally drag wires across the ground to all these scenes. But we still ran off a generator for many years, but we had more and more permanent wiring that we installed every year. And we're still doing that to this effect. Even now, we still have to use thousands and thousands of feet of extension cords. But what we like to do is, install more and more permanent wiring and get the outlet a little closer to where it needs to be so that we don't have to bring out all this wiring every year, because we take all this wiring up every winter, all the extension cords that we can, and it's easy to do because we leave them on the ground, they get attacked. We're in the middle of the woods. We're in the middle of the woods, and the animals like to eat our wires. In fact, just the other day, I found my first cord eaten up for the season already. And it's something that we constantly battle, as well as all the other aspects of being out in the middle of the woods with electricity, water, air, all this technical stuff. We have to battle the mice and the flying squirrels. Remember the stories about the flying squirrels? We always find one in a light box somewhere in some tree every year.
They are cute.
They are cute. The first year I saw one of the flying squirrels was in the cemetery. Then he moved up to one of the light boxes in the walkthrough. Last year, I forget where he was, but I think he was in somewhere around Sector 13.
There's a whole colony of them up in the walkthrough too. I never knew that Pennsylvania had flying squirrels until I started working at Reaper's Revenge. It was a huge shock, but we have a lot of flying squirrels, I've come to find out.
Yes, we do.
The first time I ever noticed, I was on the lift. I was on the lift at the pumpkin scene, and I'm sitting here going, you know, I see a little cute squirrel like running across the branches, then all of a sudden it just took off. And I was like, we have flying squirrels in Pennsylvania? That was how I learned that we had them.
Yep. So, like I was saying, as the years progressed, Mike Hefner and I, and with the help of some other people, have been installing more and more permanent wiring. We now have main lines running out to each of the attractions, but we were still running off a generator until we finally had enough funds to bring in permanent power. I mean, it was a very expensive proposition, especially for a haunt that's only open so many nights a year. You have to try and recoup your money.
22 days.
22 days.
Yeah,
we were all extremely happy to finally have permanent power. Up until then, we had to start a generator just to work on stuff for the months before we open.
Yeah, I like what Andy was saying, just to piggyback off what Andy was saying, that the infrastructure for even for me, for coming from like a different part of haunting to watch these guys work, has been some of the best information that I've ever taken in. The infrastructure of what it takes to actually run just an attraction. Like, you might want to go out there and be like an Imagineer and get it all in and do the crazy stuff, but you can't do that without what these gentlemen are actually doing. And that's like, literally, I've tailed Andy for a couple of years, and I've learned more from them on that side of things, and it's made me a better haunter and a better builder, in a sense, to just watch these guys and what they're doing. I really truly believe that the infrastructure of your haunt is more important to getting started to building a bigger haunt than you could ever think of when you're like, I have a great idea.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that the infrastructure stuff, the power, the water, the buildings, and all this other stuff, you can't do all of that at once unless you're a freaking multimillionaire. You have to slowly build every year. And we're actually to the point now where we're relatively satisfied with a lot of the progress we've made as far as the electrical and the other utilities go.
We're on a huge chunk of land, and for you guys to have it gridded out with proper conduit, with proper electrical lines, to giving you 110 pretty much wherever you would need it in the woods for the season, and then us just bringing up the cords from there. It's brilliant. I mean, in the big scheme of things, it's how it should be done.
Yeah, and like you were alluding to, Kelly, you got to realize that we're literally trying to power approximately 65 acres of land.
every 12 feet.
12 feet. 65 acres. We have 37 fog machines. We have countless projectors, countless speaker and sound system and amplifiers. Do you have any statistics on our sound system and amplifiers?
Sure. We have 7 big TVs. We have 7 projectors, 14 video players. As far as sound goes, we have 35 total professional systems. Now, these are not just your run-over-the-mill sound systems like you would have in your house. These are professional systems that have been supplied to us and set up by Billy from Rock Street Audio.
Thanks, Rock Street.
Yes, thank you, Rock Street. We don't have to maintain these. They do it. They come in every year with a 28-foot rental truck full of sound equipment, and they install it for us in all of our scenes. And like I said, it's a total of 37 professional sound systems.
Did we ever calculate how many watts? Didn't we calculate how it was like 225,000 watts of
It's 30,000 gigawatts.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far. This all stemmed from the fact that I've been putting together spreadsheets that I call Reapers by the Numbers. One of the first things that it entails is I put together last year an actual list of the sound systems that we get from Rock Street. And collaborating with them, I could go through this and add up all the wattage, but it would just be so extreme, no one would even recognize it. I mean, you have to be talking, nearly 250,000 watts in total over these 35 sound systems. It's just ridiculous.
So the highs are high and the lows are low.
Yeah. We have a total 166 professional quality speakers. I mean, who does that? Nobody. But when you look at what we do as far as sound goes and what Billy provides for us, it's obviously second to none. Every sound system is over the top, and every sound system is specifically catered for the theme of that set. Every sound system is different. Now, can any of you guys guess where you think the largest sound system is?
I'm gonna go ahead and say that it's at Jason. No, it's at Alice.
The largest sound system, like total, the walkthrough. The walkthrough has the most.
Pitch Black.
Pitch Black.
I'm gonna go with the final scene.
Yeah.
Final scene on the
Pitch Black.
Pitch Black.
Final Scene is close. Final Scene has a lot of sound in it. In fact, it has so much sound system in it that you could probably literally knock people out with it if you turned it all the way up. But Pitch Black definitely has the most sound.
It's an unruly beast.
Just for the elevator, it has like a $15,000 studio quality speaker system for the elevator.
It's the Evoc. It's the Evoc 10s. If you've ever seen the tops for the Evoc 10s, it's the most beautiful array I've seen on like a left-right sound system ever. Actually, it's the Evoc 10s. They're beautiful.
Yeah, Kelly drooled on him when we first saw him.
Yeah, I did.
I always enjoy watching you lift the subwoofers into the box that like is hooked onto the actual elevator. Having those two big subwoofers mounted in the back is awesome.
It's a good looking sound system. Just for a 10 by 10.
This is a good example. Hold on. This is a good example of some of the things we do to improve the overall experience for our customers that the customers may not even realize. What we've done in Pitch Black is literally put a speaker around every corner. So when you're walking through that maze of tunnels, every time you turn a corner, there's another speaker facing you. And that is true of the entire Pitch Black attraction. So there's over 40 ambient sound speakers in there. As as well as over 8 subwoofers for earthquake. Now, when they literally test earthquake, all I keep thinking is these trailers are literally going to blast apart. But it's so loud in pitch black that our actors have to wear earplugs to safely work in there for a lengthy amount of time.
I remember
Century.
when you guys turned to me, because we did the earthquake soundtrack probably 6 years ago. I remember you guys turned to me. We need to find some kind of earthquake, vibrating, pulsating, low end noise. I had to go and I had to kind of scour, and I found so many things, and then I had to go and actually amplify them and amplify their low end and run compressors in order to get it to the hertz level that you guys wanted to, that the speakers would operate at optimal volume without destroying the speaker or the speaker box integrity, and still being able to pull off what we were trying to do without making the whole thing vibrate, to the point where it just didn't work.
Yeah, and I think you actually got down to what some people recall or refer to as subsonic, or sub bass.
There was definitely some waveform
like under 20 hertz, like under 30, 20 hertz.
We're talking about 12 or 15 hertz.
Yeah.
And it's the same way in the final scene. I mean, when they fire up the final scene, literally the whole structure of the final scene vibrates with that bass of that guy talking.
Yeah.
That you're all gonna die.
Yeah. Hi, Jen. You have no idea what we're talking about. We love you.
Not a clue. I was just about to say, I'd totally chime in, but I have no clue what any of you are saying, your hertz and basses. I don't know, guys. I know a lot more.
It's loud. It's loud, right?
Well, to put it in a more pure perspective, our fearless leader, Paul, has always been a sound fanatic, and he wants the best sound out of everything. And he gets on this quirk. If it doesn't quite sound right, Billy's got to fix it. And what we've done in a lot of these situations is, like I said, we don't have this wimpy little home stereo. We have full range, full volume, professional sound systems. And as Kelly could say, a lot of it is tri-amped. So you have your tweeters, your mids, and your basses. And one of the nice things that we've gotten from Rock Street is some of his subwoofers. I mean, the subwoofers that we use down at Gatekeeper are the original subwoofers that were provided to the movie theaters when the movie Earthquake came out. Remember those, Kelly? Those
same as Cemetery. Michael knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Those are some big speakers.
We have also blown one up at one point. Just say.
Maybe.
Michael knows what we're talking about.
Last year we improved the sound at Thriller. We had what I would consider a halfway decent system, but no, let's make it even better. So it's not just big sound systems, but it's the fidelity. So they want to cover the whole range of your audible hearing. And that's what you're getting out of a lot of these sound systems, in particular Thriller, which now has, just for Thriller, over 12,000 watts, I think it is, through 6 speakers on each side.
And we're talking about like a minute and 20-second scene. Like it's the same thing with the elevator. We talk about these big systems. We're talking about a very small portion of almost 2 hours of your ride. It's when we talk immersive, that's what we're talking about. We're putting you right there, and sparing no expense to make sure that each little bit is more proper than it should be, just so the immersion is there.
And what a lot of people don't realize is the factors involved in getting good fidelity audio to a wagon that's being towed by a loud tractor. And all of our sound systems are designed to overpower the sounds of these tractors that are tugging you through the woods. And that's where a lot of these big speakers come from, and all this power. We have to overpower a tractor.
I mean, we can do an entire video alone just on how we design speakers. We could do a whole 15-20 minute segment on just the pointing of speakers, just like Jen has to go through the 15-20 minutes on how to point the pumpkin heads and how to point the reapers and how to pose and everything.
How to pose the clowns.
Exactly. So Andy, I mean, we're kind of getting to a point here where we've kind of thrown a whole bunch of facts at our audience at just the sheer magnitude of how we produce the show that Reaper's Revenge is known for, from sound systems to fog, electricity, gags and different things, pyrotechnics. Jen and I were talking earlier last week, you know, you've been involved in so many of the nifty creations of Reaper's Revenge. And the two of us were kind of sitting here going back and forth as to what we thought could be your favorite little piece that every time you think about it, it's like your favorite little thing to think about. What is it?
Me?
Yeah. What was your favorite gag that you've ever worked on that you kind of like that thing that's just so nostalgic for you?
I take pride in everything I've done there. I think one of my favorites as of last year is Zoltar.
Zoltar. That was a cool one.
I mean, it's not everybody that gets to take these ideas and make this stuff up out of scratch. And that's basically what we all did with Zoltar last year. I mean, Jen said, okay, well, I can make a Zoltar. Can you make him talk? I said, sure. And I still swear to this day, it sounds like you, Michael, but it's actually Kelly.
Yep. Nope. We recorded it. Kelly and I recorded it, and I programmed and designed the sound for it. But at the end of the day, it is actually Kelly's voice that we recorded in a trailer up on the mountain, and we built the soundtrack from it. We literally wrote out lines, and there were a lot of lines that did not make the cut.
All sorts of stupid stuff. If you as an audience out there, if you ever get a chance to just stop in the Lost Carnival when you get around your Zoltar and the entrance to the Midway, just hang out for a while. It's great for a good laugh. It really is. It makes my day, because every time I walk by, and I walk by it a lot, like probably 60 sometimes a night, I always catch a different line. It's great. There's so much there to it. Zoltar speaks. But Indy's right. We did that out of nothing, like absolutely nothing. We had an old set piece. I had half of a body, like it's not even a full prop in there. It's just like half of a body that I patched together with some stuff laying around in the shop. And, you know, Andy fixed up the lights, and I think there's an air scare in there too, right? Nobody actually pushed the red button. Not many people actually pushed the red button, but it's there for those who did.
They didn't want to be bamboozled.
I mean, it's kind of funny, you know, you mentioned Zoltar, because Zoltar is one of those quintessential projects that, you know, look at the four of us. The four of us each had touched that project at one point, not to mention, of course, Mike had a lot to do with it. You know, Paul actually didn't even know we were really doing it until we did it.
Alicia Kohut with the paint job.
Alicia Kohut did the paint job. And that's kind of how things work up here. You know what I mean? We all start talking, and, you know, and we all end up catching up to each other. And then before you know it, you know, I'm handing you an SD card, Andy, with the audio track. And, you know, Jen's already, you know, working on the design for it. And I get up there and the paint job's already done. And I'm just like, we're actually going to have this thing up and running today.
Yep. And it's not everybody that gets to do stuff like that. So we can go from a pile of nothing with an idea in our head and literally make it happen. And that's why Zoltar is one of my favorites. It was literally made from scratch.
It was.
We are blessed to have a job where we can kind of, and we have a really good team, and we all kind of mend well. between all of us in Haunt World. If you're watching, like, we have a really good team. If you're cool with the kids and the people, the gentlemen and ladies that you're working with, I mean, that's the best thing you could want. Like, we really are a good team together.
Yes, we are.
Well, does anybody else have anything for Andy? Jen?
I do. There's one number that I didn't hear anybody mention. Can you tell me how many lumens are at Reaper's Revenge?
Yeah, she said it. That's it. It's a lot of lumens. I know that.
Oh, that's an inside joke at Reaper Mountain.
I don't actually have a total number of lights yet. I've been slowly working on this spreadsheet, and I will have a total number, but it's literally in the thousands. And one of the things that makes us different from a lot of people is it's like every lighting scene is different. You can see right there, we use battery-powered candles. We use everything from stage par cans to little LED spotlights. It's just literally ridiculous the number of different lights we have. We have black lights, we have strobe lights, we have laser lights, we have video projectors. It's
a lot of lumens.
It's a lot of lumens, yeah. I think at this point in time, it'd be nearly impossible to try and figure out the total number of lumens, but I should be able to come up with a better guess by the end of this year, I could say. Now, talking about lights, one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is, yeah, we do a lot of things behind the scenes, or we add a lot of detail to these scenes that not every customer notices or gets to appreciate.
Thanks, Andy.
One of the things is, like you see Pumpkin Hill there behind Michael, every pumpkin has a different light in it. It's a different color, it's a different pattern, it's a different type of light. And we have, 40 carved pumpkins. Every one of those lights is doing something different. And that's pretty hard.
Absolutely. Like, you guys, you blow my mind when you guys will sit there and talk for hours about the different, the value of different lights per scene. Well, if we do this, you get this. It just blows my mind how deep you guys think about this. And I love it because it really makes all the difference. We could sit here and paint and carve and set up sets all day long and put anything out there in the woods. But if you guys weren't there to light it up and light it properly, which you do, it wouldn't be anything. So thank you.
Yeah, and that's one of my specialities, and that's one of the main reasons why I was brought on to the team. It was to tackle some of these lighting issues. In the early days, everything was whatever they had, and as
it was cyan, it was burnt amber.
As we progressed from that, I got to play with a lot of different lighting effects. Let's put it that way. Like when I got to do the front facade of Sector 13, I think I was really proud of the way that came out when it was all said and done, with the green uplighting and the blue washes and the purple tints here and there. I mean, it takes a lot of thought and a lot of practice. It's not like we just go out and slam a light on a tree. We will go out at night, reposition it and look at it and try and look at it from the customer's perspective.
Oh God,
it may not be right.
The manager Hell Week tech walks.
Yeah.
The week before Hell Week, we get out there. Some of us are on four-wheelers, side by side. Some of us are just dragging what's left of our bodies by walking, and we just sit there and we stare.
Long nights of trying to figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
But here, even before you guys get to see it on a tech night, I go out.
Oh yeah, you're out there multiple times.
and we have to approve it for ourselves. We have to be proud of it. And we won't even present it to you guys unless we're happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're out there multiple nights. If we don't like the light the first night, we'll put up another light during the day and check it that night. Some of these scenes may have gone through 5, 6 different lighting types or schemes before we were satisfied with it to even bring it to a tech rehearsal.
I doubt that the insider information. Side note, chainsaw before the final scene back when we built the house side, when you lit it with the purples and the reds and it looked super sci-fi. Like it's not what flew, but like it looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of experimentation that goes into that the audience doesn't get to see. They're like, oh, that's cool, but we're not going to do that. So, Andy, I want to say thank you for kind of coming on the segment today. It was a real big pleasure. I mean, obviously, we see how much we can dive into these neat little facts and how we've come to build a lot of these things, a lot of the technical terrors that are up there. I think we're going to have you and Mad Mike himself hop on in one of the weeks to come, one of the episodes to come, and really talk about a lot of the different things that were built and specialize a little bit more in Big Bertha and the opening scene, the gatekeeper. So, I mean, I want to say
elevator.
Oh, yeah, the elevator especially is one of the ones that we're actually going to really focus on. I don't want to dive too much into it today, but I want to say thank you for coming on the show, providing us with all these facts, and just thank you for being you, Andy.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andy.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Kelly.
Back to everybody in the studio.
And we're back. Hey, I gotta tell you, that Jen Marito, she's a hottie. Hey, everybody. What a great show it was tonight. I want to say thank you to Andy Gregory for coming on. What a hell of a guy, a hell of a coworker, and a genius. Can't spell for shit. Yeah, I said it. But without a doubt, one of the best guys up there on that mountain. And if you want to do something crazy, build something completely out of the realm of anything you thought before, that's your go-to guy.
Absolutely. I mean, it's great having him on the show. It's great being, seeing how he collects the data of all the different things that, we don't take them for granted, but we don't keep track of them the way he does. I mean, I had no idea we go through 550 gallons of fog juice. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the one who sits here and helps roll the drums every once in a while where they need to go, and I don't ever take into consideration like there's 50 gallons being dispersed across the entire mountain. So it's really cool, and it's always fun to bring on. Next week we're gonna have a whole other new show with you guys. We're gonna be bringing on Reaper's Revenge Recalled. We're probably gonna have another episode of some sort. And Todd and Kelly will probably be back next week, ready to bring to you another show on Monday and Friday. And until then, thanks for tuning in. It's been great to be your co-host tonight, Kelly. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I truly enjoyed it. Rock and roll, everybody. Be safe out there, and we'll see you very soon.
Cheers.